Made a video last night and I didn't upload it because it just ended up being like 3 videos in one. Because initially I wanted to talk about the AMC shit on the 9th that I already talked about and already told you to just not fucking freak out about and get your hopes up about anything. It was obvious that that was going to be a topic of discussion amongst many live streamers. Um, there's not enough information. We don't have any information to anything, and everyone is running this like theory of the naked shorts, like we know where they're at and we know that we're holding them and all that other shit, which isn't even necessarily fucking true. Um, like 70% of the activity taking place off exchange, I have a theory that it's all of the naked shorts in AMC. And that's where they are running that game and have been running that game. That these guys, all these naked shorts and the theory of it and everything didn't really come about until after the second. Like, it didn't come about until all of a sudden, the price gets knocked down, run up, and then knocked back down, and how they do that. Uh, so prior to that, the second, we had 513 million shares or whatever in the shareholder count. And if these guys decide to do all of their naked shorting after that, like the vast majority of it, there's still a very good chance that not many people are holding on to naked shorts like you think they are. Uh, they could have just borrowed shares in the dark pool, created a bunch of naked fucking shares, and they're trading them in gigantic blocks back and forth to their buddies where we can't see them and we can't access them. And if a vote came up, they're holding all of those, so they're not going to be accessible by vote. Um, there's just a whole lot that goes into actually thinking about the scenario as a whole. Um, Even like when a company naked short shares to begin with, and if they sold them out into the open market, uh, the lender no longer has the vote for those shares, and the people that shorted them have no vote. Whoever's holding them, whenever they assess the situation, whatever that deadline date is, that's who gets the count. So it wouldn't be like the lender has 100,000 shares that they lent and they get 100,000 to vote, and then the people that shorted have 100,000 and they're going to vote, and then you are holding 100,000, and then collectively there's 300,000 votes, but only for 100,000 shares. It doesn't work that way. Um, they would have to have been stupidly reckless, and I mean stupidly reckless, and just shorted a bunch of shit, shorted it all out into the open market, allowed retail to scoop all of it up. And I just don't see them being that dumb. They have a way to drive the price of the stock down by using dark pools, by doing all of their trading off exchange where no one can see it, no one can see who's doing it, and it's back and forth between them and their buddies who are just holding these shares. I just don't see a scenario where they did that, where they fucking were dumb enough to create billions of synthetic shares and then flushed them out into the open market. And then now they have to keep creating billions of more shares to keep the price down, all that shit. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. What makes sense is they have a tool to trade away from open eyes, away from the open market, and that's what they would have done with naked shares. They create as many as they fucking want. They're off exchange. They are the only ones that know about it. They control who they go to, whichever one of their buddies, then they can hold them, and there could be like 8 billion naked shares in the dark pool that aren't going to be voted. That are like, we legitimately very well maybe just holding the entire float, um, and that's it. So I don't think that people are gonna get the answer they want. Yeah, it would be cool if that happened, but still, what does that do for the price? Like seriously, if that happens, there's a very good chance the SEC completely seizes all activity in AMC pending their investigation, because of the illegal activity. And, well, now we're dealing with some frozen underlying account that you can't do anything with anyway till they figure out what's going on. Um, like I said, that's why I made the video preemptively when I first saw it and read about it. Because I knew this was going to be a clickbaity thing. I watched Charlie lose his mind about it. Like, lose his mind, just trying to find the nefarious nature in it. Um, From a technological standpoint, the way that they went about it makes perfect sense. It isn't shady. It isn't sus. On such short notice, that's what you would do. Get a third party to handle that information because you're not sending everything back out through individual brokerages, and it would just take a while. Some brokerage should already have something set up from the shareholder vote to where it wouldn't be that difficult for them to set this up to where your shares could count in that fashion. But this is something completely different. This is not the annual shareholder meeting. This is an earnings call that we have been invited to for the first time ever. So a new system is being implemented in order to handle that properly and efficiently. Uh, And again, pretty much everybody, especially in the YouTube movement, started out on Robinhood and Webull. So who gives a fuck if Point72 has your information? Because Citadel has all of your information, all of it. Mine, yours, everybody's. Everyone who opened a Robinhood or Webull account, who fucking bought shares, like they've got your name, they've got your address, they've got your bank account information because you linked your bank account information through a third party in order to attach it to Robinhood or Webull, which is just as crazy as this. It is that scenario is just as crazy as this. You used a third party to give your banking information to them. So this isn't any different. And I don't know what everyone's freaked out about. Seriously, that's why I didn't make a video about it, because I weighed the pros and cons, and I was like, this isn't even really newsworthy. Um, as long as you have everything set up security-wise, which you should, if you don't have two-factor authentication on, if you don't have biometrics on your brokerage accounts and all that shit, that's your fucking fault. Like, that's your fault. If something ever happens to your account, that's your fault. You can't log into my brokerage without me verifying it on my phone. You can't log in without my fingerprint. You can't fucking buy a share or sell a share without my verification and my trading pin going through. So it doesn't matter. Like, that's what these security features are for. That's why they're there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass sometimes to constantly have to two-factor authenticate shit and put a pin in to make trades and all that, but it's safe, and it's the only safety measures in place right now that are basically guaranteed. Not entirely guaranteed, but for the most part, you're pretty solid. Something's going to get caught between all those different channels. Something has to go through and in order to log in or make a trade or whatever the case may be. And it didn't make sense. Why? Or like, everyone is so caught up in conspiracy shit right now that they are turning everything into a conspiracy. And furthermore, if it sounds shady, then fine, then don't fucking do it. Like, don't. I'm not. I personally am not, because I don't give a fuck. I literally don't. I don't care. I've done my DD. I know what this play is. I'm in it for my own personal reasons. I don't give a flying fuck about this thing. I already know that there's a shitload of naked shorts out there. Well, I personally believe that there are. I also personally believe you're not going to find them in the manner that you think you will, because these hedge funds are fucking intelligent entities. They've been doing this a long time, and I mean, it would make perfect sense that they they have a shitload of naked shares off exchange in dark pools, which is why you're seeing such a high volume of activity off exchange. And we're sitting here just holding, literally, if we had the entire float held, this is round about the price it would be. This is round about the price, realistically, that AMC could be at, with everybody holding stock in AMC. I think we're right around its all-time high. I think its all-time high was like $32 or $34, something like that. And we're right around there with some new shares that have been put into the fucking float. So if it was like 31, 32, and we've been floating between 33, 35, something like that, that would be a normal range. So it is very, very, very possible that what we're seeing is this environment that's been created where we all fucking holding all the normal shares, and we're sitting right around where this fucking thing would be, roughly. There's, with the short interest and the amount of shares out, that's typically a normal legal amount that you would see in an underlying, that amount of shorted stock. It's just, like, looking at it, it's too perfect. Like, the scenario as a whole is too perfect for it to make sense. Like, it just is. Everything looks way too normal on paper. Adding up all the numbers and everything that's happened and all that shit. Like, where we're sitting is exactly where it would be if nothing nefarious had happened. If there was no naked shorts, if this was just a regular stock trading, a regular market every day, and it was popular and everyone owned all its shares and shit, this is right about where it would be sitting. So you got to stop thinking in terms of we're going to catch you with your pants down, because you're not. Like, they're not dumb. This at this point is a fucking waiting game. It's a waiting game. Someone somewhere is going to run out of money, or something's going to fucking happen in the economy. Just something is going to happen that triggers this thing. And it's not going to be this shit. It's not. And you guys are going to shit yourselves if these people vote and all of a sudden there's only like 480 some thousand votes tallied. Like, seriously. And you guys are going to freak out and be like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? It doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. So I wish people would stop freaking out about this shit. I couldn't figure out anything nefarious with it. Like, why would they be doing this to try to get information? What could they do with it? Like, nothing. Like, nothing. There's nothing. Simple as that. So, I just don't like this whole narrative that everyone thinks Adam Aaron is some sly, sneaky guy that's on our side. And, like I said, he benefits not from the short squeeze. If anything, it would hurt him, because people would take profits, and then when they all tank, it's going back down under 20 easily, maybe back down around 10. That would suck for him. So, I don't know. See what happens. And Scotty, I could not watch Short the VIX's shit. I'm not even going to watch it again. It gave me a fucking headache. I listened to it like 10, 11 times, and it did not make sense to me at all. He did not correctly explain delta hedging and offsetting delta hedging. The whole thing didn't sound remotely close to correct. And again, the kid's like 13. He doesn't even have a beard. And let that be a lesson. You want to learn some shit, you learn from a man with a fucking beard and some gray in it. because that guy knows some shit for the most part, unless he's homeless. But even then, he probably knows some shit. Maybe not what you want to know, but some shit that no one else knows, I guarantee. So, uh, these guys trying to be educators is hilarious. It is fucking hilarious, 100% hilarious. They're all wrong, all of them. One of them can't speak English correctly. And then you got little shorty over here who's in that phase. That's so cute when they're in that phase where they just think they know everything. They just think they know everything. And he ended up turning out to be just a little DD thief. That's all he is. He digs in the annals of Reddit and shit where no one's looked in months and steals people's DD. Um, his whole fucking man, I laughed so hard with the reverse gamma squeeze shit that I read about a couple months ago somewhere, and I was like, oh wow, oh yeah, this kid created that. It's not even a real thing. It's unhedging. That's all it is. So yeah, I'm not gonna break that video down. I'm not gonna give it any attention because I'm afraid it would confuse other people. If people went to go watch it or whatever, then they would be stupider for having watched it. Um, but yeah, that's my take on the AMC joint. Uh, if you want to participate in it, participate in it. If you don't, don't. I don't think it has any significant bearing on this. I could be wrong. Maybe the hedge funds were fucking dumb and just dumped a bunch of illegal ass naked shorts into the hands of the people that could expose them. Maybe. Maybe they said, hey, fuck using the dark pool where we could get away with this and no one would even be able to know it was us. They wouldn't even be able to tell what we're doing. Yeah, fuck using that. Let's just use the open market and let's give them the smoking gun. Let's give all these guys the smoking gun. It'll be fun. We can make a bet on it if they're going to catch us or if they're not, and what date you think they'll catch us. Just don't think that happened. Think logically about this shit. Think like you are them. Just start doing that. Start thinking like you're them. What would you do? And if you don't know what you would do, try to come up with a theory and then go out and dig around and see if your theory can be substantiated by evidence. And then you're going to learn shit. You're like, oh my God, wow. My brain created a scenario that I had no idea if it was true or not, and I found information that validates it. Whoopee! And go get yourself a trophy or ice cream or something, because you got some brain cells in there. It's not just, a hollow shell housing a bunch of squishy fucking organic tissue. I'm gonna get out of here. Stop freaking out about shit. I told y'all to calm down. This was gonna happen. I didn't know what they were gonna do, but I knew they was gonna do something. So, I don't think it has any bearing either way. Don't put too much stock in it. Haha. It's a Wall Street joke. Later.